Hi, this is Joe from Gojira, and you're watching the Fight Network. I started music when I was born, I think. I was always into music, and music is my life. My life is filled with music. That's all I do, and that's my passion. My entire life is music. And I started with piano when I was around 7 or 8. And I started to have a band when my first year in high school. I decided I gotta have a band just because I wanted to be like Metallica or Iron Maiden. I remember at the time, and since then I never stopped playing in bands, and I've been in this band Gojira for 18 years now. So it's my, that's what I do. Really. It is the same lineup since we started, almost. We started actually with a different bass player when we were a demo band, for the first year and a half. But it was just a friend of us who owned a bass, really. And we needed a bass player, but then he started to do something else, and we hired Jean-Michel, our bass player, like very, very quickly before we even thought, hey, let's record an album, So basically, we know each other so well after all these years that we're like a family, really, and we don't need to talk when we start to jam. We just look at each other and we know what's coming next, and we know when we're done. And so there is this kind of communication going on with us that is really organic, and it's amazing. I don't know how we stayed together all these years, because we have ups and downs and tensions, and like every other band, but I guess communication is the key, probably. We communicate a lot, and we don't do drugs, and we stay healthy. I think that's a big key to stay together, and it's definitely great to be the same lineup since the beginning. I remember when we picked that name, we were 17, 18. We just wanted something badass, and very big and crushing, and we thought, okay, what's super big and scary and has this aura, Godzilla came to mind like right away, we had to change our name like 2 years later, because Godzilla was trademarked, protected. So we picked Gojira, and it was possible. So we it became our name 2 years after we created the band, and we have to deal with that name now. I think environmental issues and human issues and the inner struggle and all that is really goes pretty well with metal, I think. And so we have that in our lyrics. We have that dimension where we speak about more spiritual stuff, and we every song is a step in a kind of spiritual quest, really. And it really means something. Every song is very important to us, and it comes from deep. It's not just a bunch of words put together to create an atmosphere, a cool atmosphere. It's we want it to be cool, don't get me wrong, but it's important for us that it has a meaning and it communicates something. So it could seem a little a paradox to be like nature lovers and to play metal, but to me it goes really well together. I don't know. It's organic. I saw a movie a couple of years ago called Shark Water, and that's how I decided to contact Sea Shepherd and do something with them, because they're in this movie fighting for sharks and whales and tuna and dolphins and turtles and all the animals of the sea, and the way they do it and the way they behave and their logo and everything is so incredibly amazing. I have a big respect for these guys, and we decided a couple of years ago, I think it was 3 years ago now, to record some songs and to put them on the internet and stuff. And first we just wanted to make one song and just to to send a message to our fans, hey, check these guys out, And finally we did 4 songs. One was released and the 3 others were never released. So it's kind of a it's a big shame for us, because we talked about it since the beginning, like, hey, we're gonna release 4 songs. And but it's gonna come out eventually. When we had some technical problems, and also we were very busy with the new album, and we're constantly on the roads and doing stuff. But this is something really important for us. We want to release these songs, but the main purpose was to put the spotlights on these guys a little bit, at least with our, to spread the word with our fans. And it worked, because each time we meet people from Sea Shepherd, like, oh, we have a lot of metalheads now coming to us, so I guess it worked. Well, okay, so yeah, we decided to invite some singers to participate to this thing, and it's just, on the road, we tour with bands and we meet and we make friends. Some of them are pretty famous, and like Randy Blythe and Mike Scavalera and Devin Townsend and the guys from Meshuggah, and we just talk and like, hey, you want to drop a solo? Yeah, sure. And that's how it happens, really. And we would not ask someone we don't like fully respect, or but it's just people on our way and that have a spirit, we like to involve them in this project. To tell you the truth, I'm not a big fan of that stuff. But traditions around the world, they come and go, and sometimes it's for a couple thousand years, and sometimes it's shorter, sometimes it's longer. I don't know. It's a tradition. To some people, it's very important. These bullfights. But I just don't see the point. Put an animal in the middle of people, and then you just kill it with a sword, and like, Wah! Okay, so all right, I get it. I don't know. It's not my thing. We are inspired for our music by every single thing, during, like, in life, everything, man. Our birth is I think the biggest influence, because it's so damn hard to be alive sometimes. No complaint, I'm very lucky to be to have a good life, and I have no problem, and I have a home. But I mean, to be alive is difficult. It's beautiful and it's great, but it's really difficult. So this difficulty is sometimes too strong, for our sensitive souls, and we need something to express it and to make us feel better. And playing metal is the best we could find. I think it's similar to wrestling and that kind of things. It's like you need to confront yourself to something hard. You need to express something hard, and to feel alive. And this is our thing. There is a metal scene in France, definitely, and there is something. There is the French touch in metal, but there was never a tradition in France of international bands. You know, it's kind of new that French bands are like, oh, wait a second, we can make it also, you know. But I guess we're a little late, a little slow, you know, but we're getting there, and there's a scene. There's a scene. Yeah, we play from the start. We play the music we want to hear. You know, that's the exciting part when you have a band and you finally have the musicians. You know, because that's a very, very difficult part. Actually, I'm really, really lucky that my brother is the drummer. My brother became a drummer when I was already a guitar player, and I was so excited to be able to rehearse every day at home when we were kids. So we created our technique, our language together, and then we got these guys joining us. And there's nothing more exciting for us than playing the song that we would like to hear from another band. You know, no one did that. Why? Let's do it. You know. So it was always this way. It was never okay. What do people want to hear? You know. Because that's not possible, I think, because so many different tastes, you know. So we just stick to what we like, you know, and it seemed to work, you know. People get it, and people want to see us live, so we're like, okay, sure. I remember at the beginning we had this ritual. We were sitting on chairs, like a round, you know, like sitting, and kind of, you know, we close our eyes, and it's a kind of very short meditation before going on stage. We do that sometimes. We stopped that. We also, I remember playing 3 songs, unplugged, you know, just our instruments and Mario, the drummer, with his drumsticks on a chair, whatever, like sitting in the dressing room and playing 3 songs like that. We would get on stage really, really tight together. But since the beginning, we don't do that neither. We tour too much. Like we get on stage, we do our own warm-ups. But this one thing we do, it's very simple. Other bands do that too. But we just, you know, kind of hug each other, the 4 of us, before going on stage. If we don't do that, we're like, wait, where are the guys? You know, the intro's playing. You know, we always do that. I don't think there's one single show without that. You know. We hurt ourselves, yes, on the stage sometimes. I jumped in the crowd a couple of times, and once I just fell on the concrete floor. That was really bad. You know, I jumped and I turned my back, and boom, I fell, like my back on the concrete. And I don't know, people didn't see me, I guess, because there was at this moment there was a light in their eyes, you know, probably a blinder kind of light. And they saw me at the last second, and they just stepped back. Bam! My back on the floor like that. First thing I thought, you know, I have a daughter. I thought about my daughter, and I was like, what the fuck are you doing, man? You know, so I stopped jumping in the crowd like that. And yeah, when we come back from touring, we have bruises on our legs, because the guitars, you know, sometimes we just take the guitar and hit the leg, and so full of bruises here, and we're sore. It's very physical. It's a very physical experience. Yeah. We have we pay attention to what we eat and what we drink, and we need to stretch before each show. And of course, warm up. You know, I have to warm up my voice, and Mario's warming up for 1 hour, because the drummer, he has this routine for almost an hour. It's pretty extreme, like to warm up 1 hour per day on tour for months, you know. But he's we have a discipline, a very, very strict discipline. Never, not one drink, you know, before a show at least. We'll have, you know, a beer or two after the show, and sometimes we'll get drunk, you know. But it's not like we avoid that, you know what I mean? And we stretch a lot, and I have to drink a lot of water from my throat and that kind of stuff. You know, it depends. We had moments, yes, we had moments where on tour we would be so tired, you know, or missing home too much, and it's just another show, you know, and we get on stage and we do it. We go through the motions, you know, and then cannot wait to be back in the dressing room and just pass out on the couch, you know. We had these moments on this tour. It's such a challenge to open for Slayer that, you know, every night we really give our best. It's not that on the other tours we don't give our best, but once in a while, yes, we have that night where we feel like too tired, too exhausted. And sometimes it makes a good show too, you know. Sometimes I'm surprised. I'm like, tonight I wasn't even there, you know. I was just going through the motions, and then I meet fans like, that was the best show I've ever seen from you guys, you know. I'm like, really? So that's what I need to do? Be a zombie on stage? So I don't know, man. It's strange. I'd like to sing for Metallica one day. You know, that would be great. I don't know. I never thought about this, but you're asking me. You're asking me. It's not. I like to sing for my own band, you know what I mean? Like this is my stuff, but being on stage with Metallica would be completely mind-blowing, yeah. Yeah, we are already thinking about the next record, you know? That's what we do, you know? We're on tour, we release records, and so we cannot wait to go back in the studio and write another record, because we feel like it's time for us to release something new, and we feel inspired. We have a bunch of ideas, and so we don't know when it's gonna happen, but yeah, most likely next year there's gonna be a new record. We're also releasing a DVD, a live DVD that we're very proud of. For once, filmed at the Brixton Academy in London, and it's gonna come out by the end of this year or early next year. We're working on this with a sweet package, you know, with a bunch of stuff in it. So we're pretty excited by this.